All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Traders Talk Podcast, where we sit down with some of the best traders, funded, non-funded. Today, I got a pretty special guest, man. If you don't know who this person is, I'm sure you're going to know him soon. This is a special episode, so please stick around. Hit the like button to subscribe if you haven't already. I got the party shirt trader with me here today.
Love it.
Yeah, man. I'm sure you're gonna see him on Instagram at some point. And I think you're doing your YouTube fairly soon. So a lot of people will be seeing you on the YouTube wave. But yeah, man, a very good trader. I think you have right now around 400,000 in funding. Correct me if I'm wrong at the moment, right?
So I did have that. Unfortunately, just lost it. I could go into detail about it, essentially family issues, etc. But again,
we're gonna talk about this later. At last year, I had funded accounts come and go. Let's just say that. We'll go into this later, okay?
Yeah.
But where I always start, it's gonna be a pretty exciting episode. What I want to know, somebody like you got crazy energy, dude. You are always like over here. Every time I talk to you, you like level up my energy. So I want to thank you for that. So that's that, right? But okay, so what I always start with the podcast is, what was life for you like before you, like, what were you doing before you even like trading was even a thing? Like, what were your goals, or what were you like trying to do? Or like, was there nothing going on? Like, what was the plan? Like, what was going on before trading even hit you in the face?
Sure. So I like to say I've lived pretty much like 1,000 lives. So I've been there, done most things. So before trading is like 100 lives ago.
Right.
So I started when I finished uni. So when I was at university, I did sports, physical activity and health. So I was all into the fitness world and did a bit of sales as well. And I worked on cruise ships as a kind of fitness director on there. So my job was to conduct exercise classes, health presentations, and it was a sales job. I was selling health products, and they were really good products as well. You get tired of living on a boat, right? It's great that you live in the Bahamas and Miami and all this, and it is a great experience, but you're working like 24/7, 7 days a week, and it's intense. So then I got into car sales after that, and I loved the job. I loved car sales. I just I didn't really enjoy the management so much, because I was putting in 110%, and I was killing it in selling in insurance and things like that. But I just didn't feel the same kind of, like, I enjoyed the job, but I don't feel like they did, so therefore it's rubbed off onto me. So I got out of that job, got into medical sales, and I thought I landed the dream job, but all that happened is I loved management, but I hated the job. And it just got to a point where I was like, this is just not getting me to a life that I enjoy. Like, I had stacks of cash. Like, do I buy a house, or like, what do I do? Like, I always enjoyed traveling, and I've always done traveling. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just book a one-way ticket to India next week, and then handed in my notice, and that was it.
And you went to India. So even at that time when you were working these jobs, it was like you felt like you were not happy doing what you were doing, and so you wanted to continue looking for different kind of, until you found something you really like doing, right? Correct?
Yeah, I mean, like, I never looked at trading until I was like 26, 27.
Right.
So it wasn't even on my radar. Like, I just wanted to, be able to travel and work online, and all I realistically needed was maybe about a couple grand a month, and that would be swell. That's all you need to travel the world and live very comfortably. So I did the classical thing. When you start traveling, you start to realize, like, right, I need to figure out how to work online. So I just, Googled how to work online, and I just looked at all the options available. So I didn't want to do high ticket sales because I'd done that before. You got Amazon FBA, and I was just like, that looks confusing. So I just looked at something like trading, and I was like, well, it's just, it seems quite easy to do. Not easy, but like, it's within my grasp of like just learning about charts.
Right.
And, like anyone that first gets into it, you just follow signals, or you sign up with someone's signal broker. And, initially I was doing really well, but that's because I had no idea what risk management was. So I managed to flip, I think it was like 4 grand into like 14, 15 grand. But, I spent a lot of it, blew a lot of it. And then after that, you feel burned. So I took some time off. And when I was in Australia, I was working farm jobs, and I was like, this is intense, and I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5. I don't want to go back to England. I need to kind of go back to trading, because I was still kind of looking at it and playing with it, and keeping my, just leveling up, but just wasn't really that focused on it.
Right.
And then I was like, no, this needs to happen now. So I just spent 2 hours a day an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, sitting in front of charts, earphones on, writing notes, and just figuring out how to crack the code. And everyone looks at the markets differently. So, I always say this, your strategy is vastly different to my strategy, and
100%.
all the other traders that are out there in the world, right? So there's always a different edge. So it's just really important you find your edge, and everyone perceives the markets in different ways. So I found gold and pound Australian dollar. Those were the things that I could trade the best, especially on gold.
Okay.
And I still trade gold now actively.
Yeah.
And I just kind of cracked the code, but then I realized I need more money, because before I had no concept of risk management. And then I was starting to, as you're leveling up and as you start to understand, risk is probably the most important thing. You can be a fantastic trader,
100%,
but without good risk management, you get absolutely wrecked.
100%.
So
yeah,
I was like, right, I need to just find a way to find more money. So I did the usual thing: how to find investors for trading. FTMO turned up, and I was like,
what year was this?
I think it was 2017.
Okay, cool. So that was like way back. Okay, so you've been trading for how long now?
To like 2016.
Okay, cool. So you've been training for a while.
Yeah. So, but I was like, used on and off until
like
FTMO, right? And then I got funded. Like I sold my body to science. So I made like $6,000 by doing a medical study. And then that's when I was doing my FTMO challenge. And then as soon as I got out, I was catching my flight to Vietnam. I was like, right, I still need to finish this challenge. I need to like bum off somewhere because my visa's running out. I got to Vietnam. They closed the borders the day after I flew in. So I was like, whew, this was because of COVID, right?
Okay.
And I touched down, and like I look at my phone, and my gold trade hit TP. Okay. We just landed like $100,000. I was like, sweet. Right. And then, first trading week, I kill it. I was like 26 grand. I was like, oh my God, I'm living my best life. I call family and stuff and say, look, I've not made it. But yeah, I have considerably made it. I have done, I might be a loose goose, but damn, I think I've cracked the code here. Did it. But it's like anything, once you kind of start going, but if you don't have the right foundations in place, like a community or people to talk to about trading, because it's a lonely game, right? I didn't know anyone apart from people that I watched on YouTube, and that was it. And like I didn't talk to them, and I tried to talk to some of them, and it just gets you nowhere. But then then COVID really hit the markets pretty hard, and all the instruments I traded became untradeable. And slowly but surely, I just started like losing everything, right? Which happens. I'd like, I had lots of money, and then slowly but surely, it was just like going. And then by this point, I was in an extremely toxic relationship that was kind of destroying me from the inside out. And I was developing tics. I was becoming unhuman. I wasn't the person that you see now at all. I was more like shy, not shy, just very timid. I wouldn't talk to people. I looked like I was a scared, wounded dog. That was how I was. So then I have to call home and say, like, can you help me out? I need to get back. And, essentially went from like kind of 6-figure earning to. Were you in Vietnam at this point? Yes, I was. So I was living my best life there. Like I was having a good time, but in the background, things were just slowly like going to shit. Right. And and then had to just start from zero. And from scratch, right? It's pretty brutal going from having pretty nice stack to nothing. So now when that happens, right? So at this point, you obviously lost your funded account, correct? And you weren't. And when you go on these losing streaks, right, it kind of kills your confidence. Obviously, like it did for me as well. At one point last year, even earlier in this year. Did you change some things? Like when you got back to the UK, you're like, okay, fuck, this happened. I was doing so great. When you're doing really good, you're like, this is never going to end. That's what I thought. Like last summer, I had 700,000 with, all these funding companies. Boom, August hit and I blew everything. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Yeah. So was there anything at that time you're like, okay, I need to change? Was there something wrong with your trading? Or do you think it was just like what happened, like things that just transpired? And if there was, did you change anything at that time? I think that there's a lot of factors to consider, right? So it wasn't just my trading I was probably just getting too greedy. I was probably being too impatient, on top of the other things that were going on in my external life, right? So
Right.
the real things that changed for me, right? I'm look at the camera now. The real things that will change for you, take note. If you really want to take it serious, stop going for women, stop drinking alcohol, and relentlessly focus. Relentlessly reach out to those that inspire you. Don't ask stupid shit, because you got it's really important when you get their attention, utilize it. There's people that have reached out to me, have utilized my kind of knowledge, or getting them out of ruts, and they've killed it. They've started absolutely smashing it. And the person that kind of did that for me was you've already kind of interviewed him, Matt. Matt Tomillion.
Matt, yes. Shout out to Matt, bro. Shout out to Matt. Really good trader.
So he kind of saw me and saw the potential in me, and he gave me a shout out when he didn't have to, when I was starting Mainster. And like it's very hard to meet people that we kind of very much align on the same values in a lot of things. And so it was just a real kind of enlightening experience that I get to speak to him all the time, every day now. And
really cool.
It's nice to just be able to express your goals, ambitions, and we help each other, and he helps me through, and he sees what I can do. I just need to stop being a goose, right? But and keeping the goose behavior down. But I intend to be one of the best in this industry in the next year or two, for sure.
Man, I think you will be. Like, you're already an amazing trader, and you're really definitely helping a lot of people out. I see you. You communicate with the industry a lot. And one point that I wanted to touch with you, maybe somebody who's listening to this right now, when you mentioned it, trading is so effing lonely in the start, especially when you don't talk to people. This is why I like having a community. I like talking to you on Instagram, because it's just like, if you're just gonna sit there and try to trade by yourself all day, you're either gonna get depressed, or I don't know, something's gonna happen. Like, you need to people need to go out and do things. And the other point that I was gonna touch on it later, but I might as well touch on it now. You said you need to focus.
Relentlessly
stop paying attention to drinking and women and things like that. Like, there's some things that a lot of people aren't willing to give up, but they also want the money and to be successful traders. And so I was gonna ask you, like, were there things within yourself that you felt like I have to change this? Because for me, I felt like trading changed me as a person. There was some things I had to give up, some things I had to start. It definitely changes you. Sure. Do you think you already said that happened to you? So were there some changes that you try to bring in within yourself as well, like waking up early, not partying so much, things like that? Because it does change you. I know that, right? Like, it changes who you are. And if you don't change, you're going to get destroyed, most probably.
Sure. I mean, I always say to people, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to sacrifice? And I went down the darkest route, and I sacrificed everything. So some people, when they get that low, they stay down. But even when I was in the dark, I still had that thing within me to get back up. So I think I've been so low. There's only one way to go. So there's only one way to go.
Only up from here.
Never to the darkest thoughts about doing something unthinkable. But life just was. There was no real light. Everywhere I looked, I was in a horrible relationship. I was flat broke. I didn't have a job, and when I did get a job, I didn't want to get back into sales. So I just got like a crappy job, just because I needed to just get out the house and start, applying for more funding and just building up some capital, really. So it's just, what are you, even when you're at that stage, even when you feel like there is no hope, or that money's an issue, you have to stay vigilant to the course, because there's so many factors that influence your trading. And once you iron those out, you find your trading will then slowly but surely start to dramatically improve. So for me, I just looked at what was going on for me before, and it was just women and drinking a lot.
Drinking.
So and you got to look at other factors as well. Typically people look at the trading, but there's They're not looking at what's going on the outside. Are they exercising? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they eating healthy? Right? These things all affect the old brain.
Your emotional health has to be perfect as well, right?
Yeah. So what I really kind of mastered, and I don't know I can't recall how long you've been following me before, but I go through losing streaks, but I don't get phased by it anymore. It does not phase me because I'm here, A, for the long term, but B, I know with 2-3 trades, I can be out of it. So like I was saying before this, if I didn't paper hand myself today, I would have made 17% just off, two or three trades. I thought it was 2 trades.
Yeah.
So like, I know that I have the potential to just hit those home runs when the market's in the kind of perfect conditions for my trading style.
So, okay, I like what you just said, because this is, so now we're kind of talking on the topic of emotions. Okay. Yeah, I'm also at a point where even if I lose a funded account, I'm like, all right, I'll get that one back next month, because that's just how it is. If I lose on my personal, it doesn't phase me anymore. But at one point, and I think a lot of people that are going to be watching this, or even people that you talk to, if they lose a funded account or if they lose a verification, like they just lose their mind. Like they get so hurt by it. And it's like, it's all about like controlling your emotions. So there's happy and bad emotions, right? So one of the ones that I struggled with the most in the end was the too happy emotion. Like if I win a big trade, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go find more. And then you go out and then you lose it. So if I win a trade now, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm closing the computer. Let's move on. Right. So I think you're emotionally, eventually you get to that stage right now. Now, in terms of your learning, from the time that you first, Googled it to the point where you started like, okay, you got funded. Did you go through did you go and buy a course, or was this all on YouTube and just self-learning?
How R-rated can we go on this?
You, as much as you want.
So essentially, well, I don't know, some people are against certain things, right? So I was self-taught, and I just took LSD, acid / microdosed to do it.
Okay, cool.
So
wait, reverse. You were self-taught, then you did LSD, and then it started working out for you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Noted.
So the reason why, so most people think, oh, that's extreme, etc. And I used to be kind of anti-drugs and this, that, and the other. But when you look at the reality of what these things can do, it can rewrite pathways in your brain which are habitual, and it can develop ones that are, linear to what you want from said outcome. So it's really interesting once you start to recognize patterns more efficiently. Or I found that I was able to find my emotions more calm, and also with emotions as well. This is a bit of a side tangent. Emotions are really important in the sense that you can be aware of them. You can be aware when you start to feel that over trading, or when you start to feel the revenge trading. You know the feeling. So once you know that, you then can revert to like, what's the sensation? Make a note of it, and you'll stop it, because you need to be. It's really, really important that these feelings are signals.
Right.
And once you get that signal, you can actively do something about it rather than give into it.
Give into it, right?
So that's what I found. Like when I start, like I don't know if you see on my Instagram, when I say, right, I'm going to smash my keyboard, that's when I just close all the trades and get away. Because I need to. I'm getting too emotional, right? No matter the outcome, it's not going to make me happy.
Right. So just you're at this point, you're trying to detach any given emotion that comes up, because that's probably the best thing you can do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The least amount of emotions. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, I'm a very emotional person, but I just keep the kind of two separate. The thing is, for me, is focus. And that's why now I'm here in Thailand. My focus is just on trading, and I'm in the environment that I love, Southeast Asia, amazing blue seas, and beautiful women, everything you can ask for. I'm living that trader life.
Man, I think that's super important. The winters in Canada are so harsh. I swear to God, I think it was just like no sun. This winter was tough for me to trade, but if I'm in an environment where I'm happy, like every time I go on vacation, and I did a few vlogs where I went on vacation and started trading, I was by the poolside just smashing trades,
Yeah.
just winning. And I think it's like the environment or me being happy.
Was that the
So I
same
think that
trading
plays a
time as
big
well?
part. Yeah, and I think that plays a big part. Like if you're emotionally in a good place and your environment is good, I think that plays a really big part. So people that are kind of in a really bad place, I would suggest maybe even hold off from the trading. Like if you're in a really, really bad, or okay, yeah, that other thing. Ash's all of his links are going to be in the description below. Please give him a follow, man. You're gonna need his little inspirational boost that he posts. And I believe you're going to be posting a lot more. I can't wait till you launch your YouTube, man. I want to see some some of this
like I was saying
action
before, it's effort, right? And I just think I can do what I can with my phone, right?
With your phone.
But I do everything on my phone. Everything is on my phone. I've built this whole brand on my phone,
right?
And it's hard because I want to enjoy life as well, and I've already got a lot on my plate. So like I was saying to you before, like I'll give you kind of a synopsis of like my day, right? So wake up 4 or 5 a.m. and I don't use alarms. I just wake up when I wake up. So sometimes it might be a little bit later, might be a little bit earlier, but typically it's around that time. I get the music on. I start my little disco.
I see that.
Start chugging some water. And I put all this on Instagram as well, so you can see it.
I see that.
I get on my little... and then I get on like the Discord, I get on my socials, reply to DMs. I might have a look at the charts, but I won't actively kind of take a trade unless there's a feature. There's not very often. And then I'll get ready for the gym, go to a 9 a.m. class, typically there till about 10:15. Then I'll call some people that I've met in the area. And I'm very social, so I'll just talk to anyone and everyone.
Right.
And I'll just go for like breakfast or lunch or whatever time it may be, but by the sea or just some really amazing restaurant. Like you're looking like an expensive place, like $10, and that's like flash. That is flash. If you go to just like a local little stall, you can like $3-5, and like so there's no point cooking. Like I went to a place today, and I think like $4, and it was like perfection. And then I come back, might do some washing because I'm sweating so much. Get on the charts, get back to the DMs, maybe trading from 1 p.m. till 5-6, and I'll be having more discos. And then in the evening, I'll reach out to some people, go to yoga, maybe do some more gym, and then meet up with some people, like go do something by the beach, go to an event. So there's always events running in the evenings as well. And or could just go for a scoot ride. The benefit of trading as well, and I have the skill set to trade on my mobile as well. So I can I can do the trade setups on my computer now, and I can just set alerts, right? And that's it. And then rinse and repeat. And then when it gets to the weekend, that's when I can let the gooses out, and the gooses come out. They come out to play, all of them. I'm like, come on, boys.
So just to reverse you up a little bit, you're out in Thailand living your best life. So for the people, like, cause everybody dreams, everybody's literally. Okay, I understand some people don't want to put in the work and they're always complaining, but a lot of people dream about this. Like, this is the life you're living. The life. Okay, this is what you wanted to do. After I believe you came back to the UK, you're like, all right, I gotta get it together. So eventually, you wanted to get out of the UK again, right? You wanted to. I don't know if it was Thailand, but you wanted to get out, correct?
Yeah.
When you came back,
I tasted the liqueur of life.
Right.
And once you taste that sweet nectar, that there's another way to live. And I always say to people, like, you don't even know what living's like until you really give it a go. Like, I've been all over the world and I've done so many things only because I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to lose it all. I'm willing to just fuck it all up. I'm willing to do that because, that's what it takes. You can live, you can live in your bubble if you want to. You can be scared of, COVID. You could be scared of, flying. You can be scared of everything. And all of a sudden you sit in your house all day and you wonder why you feel depressed, whilst, you might find me on Instagram and see what I'm doing. I'm out and about, scooting around. I'm just on like a mountain doing something wild, only because, I've lived an amazing life. I know, if I conk over.
And you sacrificed before. You didn't just land here out of the sky. You went through the hard times. You went, you put in the time to build this skill set, and now you're benefiting off of it. So, yeah, man, same thing for me. Like I was super depressed at my job, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. Yeah. I took a little trip out to South America, and I came back, and as soon as I came back, my boss sent me an email saying we need to talk about your performance. All I did was sit home and trade instead of work. As soon as I saw that email, I was like, yeah, I quit. I saw the email, and I'm like, he's like, we need to meet at 10 a.m. It was 9:30. At 9:30, I wrote my resignation. I was like, I'm done. I had like 400,000 with FTMO. I had a bunch of money saved, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I think with a lot of people like the main purpose of the podcast is for people that are like struggling and they can't put the pieces together. So
sure.
I don't know how much you struggled at one point with actually finding something that works for you, but what do you think? And you talk to a lot of people in the Discord and with the funded trader program and all those things.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that are trying. Where do you think people are getting stuck the most? Is it like, I think there's the three things you have to perfect is strategy, risk management, and psychology.
Sure.
Where do you think majority of the break-even traders are stuck right now? And what advice would you give them?
Well, so you touched on it before as well. What people do is they put the funding on a pedestal.
Right.
Once you put the funding on a pedestal, that's the golden carrot. And if you get the golden carrot and lose the golden carrot, you feel this shame, you feel rage, you feel so disappointed with yourself because you might have promoted it as well. Like, look at me, I'm killing it, right? And then all of a sudden you have to go back to your corner, and it's it destroys you mentally. But what I tend to find is people will typically get a funded account, and I've been there as well. And I was up 10% and then still managed to lose the account, right? But that's what you tend to, for me, I had things going on family wise and other things as well. But what tends to happen is it's that greed gremlin. They let greed take over, and people, this is a saying that I kind of live by. You got to trade with confidence, not with ego. Because what people tend to do is they try and force their view on the market whilst they're not paying attention to what the market is telling them. And once you kind of establish that, right, you see the candlesticks do a certain close or a certain pattern play out, you think, right, I need to cut this trade short, or I need to just like get out. Or if it's going your way, price starts to stall, and then you think, right, do I trail my stop? Do I give it more room, or just close that now? You've got to just be aware of what the market's doing, and people will just hope, and hoping doesn't get you anywhere in the markets.
Hope trading.
It's some people like, so for example, they see like, oh, I saw the same setup for you, but I was scared to take that trade. And that's why you're scared to take it. It's like, oh, gold's burned me too many times. I was like, well, take it off your list. Why are you looking at it?
Yeah, that's why I don't trade gold.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is with gold, right? I understand why people don't trade it. Like I trade it when I feel like the time is right. So like today, if you check my Instagram, like you can see the time was right. The structure was there. So you just got, I don't trade it actively every day on gold. Gold I like, but you've got to wait for its moment.
Right, Adam. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you get stuck in gold,
oh God,
it's a rough ride, isn't it?
Blow their. I think when gold pushed into the 1950? No, 1850 area. I think about a month ago, I had like 20 people message me, can you save my account? I'm like, how do you want me to save your account? I don't have any magic. But
this is my saying with gold. It's the bringer of dreams and destroyer of souls.
Yeah. So I traded sometimes. I traded it. I think
you traded it the other day.
Yesterday, and I did really good. And I traded it a month ago. But I only trade it when I see super clean. Like it's got to be like my dream setup. But one thing I'm scared of, and this is what I want to bring up with you because you trade this a lot. I'm going to be very honest and say it openly. I am very scared of US 30, and I will not touch it. No.
Why? It's easy.
I did very good in 2021, 2020. At one point, I did really good, but then at some point, it just murdered me. So I know you at this point, are you not trading any Forex pairs and just you're doing a gold and you're doing indices, correct? Or are you sometimes throwing in a Forex pair every now and then? And why?
I threw in a couple today just because, like, I used to trade GU primarily after a while for a
Right.
bit, and Euro Aussie dollar, sometimes that can be quite clean.
Yeah.
It's been sideways for a while, but if you look at it
Yeah.
recently, what a dump.
Yeah.
But when EA's moving quite nice, because so EA typically gives a lot of pips, but I primarily enjoy more the indices because I find I can identify the structure quite well and get
Right.
into a fantastic entry. And I typically always get a 4 to 10 risk to reward on the daily.
Amazing. Right. Okay. And what are some of the main indices you're trading? NAS, US 30. Are you trading anything else? Any other indices?
Yeah, so I trade DAX, NASDAQ, US 30, and I do like the Nikkei as well.
Okay,
That's the
cool.
Japanese market.
Yeah, I see primarily that's what. And so what's your trading style? Is it like sort of throwing on key levels and then price action? Are you using any indicators? What's kind of the flow that you're using? Don't have to disclose everything, but like just in general.
I mean, yeah, if you should check out my Insta, I do all the trade breakdown. I talk about the indicators and what I identify whilst I'm trading.
Yeah.
So what I always say to people is, like, there's so many different ways to trade. I've just found my way. So in terms of my strategy
100%.
itself, yeah, and like I say, some people see what I do and they're like, I don't get it. And that's
I can't,
fine. I
yeah.
say that's fine. I don't get how you trade, but you kill it. Like, so, and that's the
Right.
beauty of it. I know so many different
Yes.
styles of traders because it fits their personality and it fits their eyes, it fits their kind of risk appetite, and it's just so important just to find your own way and not focus on what other people are doing.
Yes.
Because people focus on what I do, like it's like, yeah, it's good, but
100%.
your edge is your edge. Like my edge might
100%.
be, a little bit better than others, a little bit worse than someone else, right? But at the end of the day, if you're making,
It
let's
works
say 2%,
for you.
yeah, if you're making 2% a month, you're better than the 99%.
This is
So-
something, yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
right.
This is something I talk about a lot of time on my YouTube channel, even in my course, in my Discord. You got to find a strategy that works with your personality. Some people like scalping because they can't hold trades. Some people don't like that. There's just and same for me. Like the first 2 years, I kept buying courses. I kept trying different things. Indicators, support and resist. I finally found something that worked, and when it worked, it just clicked. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
and it's what works for me. So yeah, that's one great thing. I'm glad Ash said that as well. You got to find something that works with your personality. So cool. So right now you're in Thailand.
Do you want me to go over my strategy?
Let's go.
Let's
go.
So essentially, like, if you look at some of my trade breakdowns where, I cleared the chart, I did an odd symbols challenge, right? So I just traded peculiar assets. So I traded silver, Euro Aussie, and UK 100 just because I never traded them. But I just went over how I would mark charts. So I'll start on like the monthly, draw the levels out, and I'll keep it, just a line initially, and I'll just mark it as monthly level. Then I'll zoom down to the weekly level, daily level, and then anything in between is just minor levels. And then from that, on that 4-hour bit, you can then I draw like zones, because it's one price isn't exact, right? It's sometimes really important just to mark an area. So once I've marked out those areas, those are the kind of things that I wait for price to get to and see how it reacts, whether it breaks through or does a certain type of pattern in that area. And with patterns, there's hundreds of patterns, right? Maybe even thousands. Just identify 4. There's 4 kind of key patterns that you could probably recognize a lot easier than any other patterns. And I have like 3 or 4. I focus on them. I then use indicators to then add extra confluence. So a lot of the indicators that I use are based around volume, because volume moves the markets, right? So if you can make that a more visual interpretation on your chart, it's just going to give you that edge. It gives me my edge, right? So I use things like the VWAP, which is the volume weighted average, yeah, something like that. Price average, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's based on volume. And then I use that in conjunction with a 50 moving average, just because I find that those two kind of correlate quite nicely. And then I use a kind of it's kind of like an oscillator. So it's the cumulative delta volume. So that just it kind of makes it's just it shows you buying and selling orders and who's in control.
Yeah.
And I put some moving averages on top of that. So if price is kind of bouncing off that or trading above that, only buys.
Okay.
And then I'll sometimes, very rarely, but I'll sometimes use the volume profile as well, because that identifies the key levels. Yeah.
Right.
Identifies key levels where price is going to be most sensitive. So by having all that data in front of you, it might seem confusing. I'll put it all on initially, so I get a grasping and an idea of what trade am I going to take. Then I'll take the volume profile off and some of the other things off just to make it look a bit more clearer. And then I'll just wait for the setup. And it's as simple as that. And if we're, trading at a high, I'll wait for a candlestick, sell the high. If we're at a low, wait for a certain pattern to form, buy the low. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's
typically how I do it.
That's your edge. That's what you found, and that's what works for you. Are you typically going for a risk to rewards of higher than 1 to 3, or would you do, or like you don't care, you'll do like a 1 to 1? At this point, I'm doing anything. I used to just only do 1 to 3. This year, I'm like, I'll take anything, bro. Give me a 1 to 1, do 1 to 1 2.
So I typically aim for a minimum 1 to 4 minimum, and I'll go for like I was saying to you today, I could have had 17 hours today. So that was 2 trades, one at 1 to 7, one at 1 to 10, and they both hit TP target. But I bloody paper hands it. Oh, I've done that the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Profit's profit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think I still walked away with like 6% today. So it's not too bad.
No, that's great. Awesome, man. So you're out in Thailand, you're trading, you're living where you want to live, you're doing what you're able, what you want to do. You're funded. In terms of funding, man, and I want to just get your thoughts on this. Like I don't know why people just like, they think once you get funded, just money's gonna start raining down on you. That typically doesn't happen. Like if you get a funded account, it's you can keep it for a couple months, and then it's you can potentially lose it fairly easily. So they come and go, right? Yeah. What's your thought on long-term funding? Like, I don't think it's sustainable to always be trading and fund. They're also stressful to trade as well, in my opinion. Now that I've been trading them for about just over a year, I'm just trying to build. I'd rather build personal capital. What are your thoughts about like for the future? Like, do you want to just at some point? I'm assuming you're gonna want to get off and just kind of have like your own personal account at one point.
So that's the goal for this year. So I've got a lot of things planned for this year, and it's just getting it rolling. So I'm just starting the ball now, starting the machine. So the concept and the idea is to start social trading and doing that with like investors and everything as well. So social trading is just like eToro, right? So it just copies my trades and I take a commission. Right. And once you start to really start that, like I know a guy that has over 900 clients and they have to have a minimum 10 grand deposit, right? Minimum. So just off like the commissions and things that he has, he doesn't need a large amount of capital. He just needs to trade. Yeah. And he's a swing trader.
Okay.
And, he does, fantastic for himself from his trading, but his commission fees is what pays him absolute dividends. Ooh. So that's the kind of next stage and next level that I want to get to. And I just see the fun with the funding. I love it in the sense that it takes all the onus and risk off me. So I personally find it's less pressure. So, I pay a 20 or 10% dividend or tax, right, for them, for using their money. So if I go for a losing streak, it's not my money on the line, and it's, 100%. the firms, right? And they have, they factor in all the risk and everything like that. So they make it work on their end, because obviously if it wasn't a profitable business, there wouldn't be so many of them, right?
Right. Extend this podcast too long. I want to thank you, Ash, for coming on today, sharing your knowledge with us. You touched on some amazing points, man. I'm going to leave your description, your Instagram and your YouTube and things like that in the description below. Guys, give him a follow. Trust me, you need this boost, because this guy is on Instagram just pumping. And he's very motivating. I love going on his IG profile in the morning. And he's very social. So with that, I'm going to end the podcast, and thank you. And maybe later in the year, Ash, we'll get you back on, see what's going on.
Always. I'll be so much more browner as well. I'll look delicious, mate. I'll be nice and trim. I'll have more gemstones. Who knows? Yeah. I'll have a face